Hello, and welcome to Mexico. Hello, and welcome to... Well, that was an awkward feedback. Yes, we're in Mexico tonight. How fun for us. It's Tier 1 at the Mexican Grand Prix. Heard a lot of chatter from the drivers about things to watch out for tonight. It is 36 laps of pure, unadulterated Kirby murder goodness. Yes, track limits, hot subject tonight, as well as curbs. I fully expect a few people, actually, if we jump on board with Throttle? No. Who's the one on the out lap? That'll be, I actually can't tell. Whatever. Terry. If we follow along with Terry, you can see he's coming through a particular section of the track we call the S's, and tonight we're expecting at least 2 DNFs in the S's, the weight transfer of the car as you're going through it at top speed, especially when there's a lot of fuel in, makes a really hard to control car. On lap 1, it's not so bad, but the second you get to lap 3, 4, 5, and so on, because your tires are so heated from all the energy you have to put in them to get around and through that section in the first place, it is a very high energy section on the prelude to Sector 2 there. We are expecting a fair amount of calamity. We are going to roll on with Terry. If you're on the telemetry tonight, I must apologize for a visual bug that's going to be during qualifying. The weather is unfortunately seeped out of its heading, but you should see the rewards for such a bleeding edge adoption of technology. We now finally have driver names. Unfortunately, they have to be manually assigned. We'll have to see whether they carry on through the next session into the race, but they should, and that is what I'm hoping for. So let me actually go check to make sure everything's working properly. Again, that ugly code error thing, I'm sorry about that. But so far, looking pretty alright. Looking pretty okay. You're gonna follow along Terry with his first flying lap. Unfortunately, we didn't catch so much of it, but we will get all of Sector 3. He's actually invalidated there. That would be on turn, let me guess, number 13, I'm going to call that. Coming around, this is 17 here, and I wonder if he's going to go again. It looks like he might have the battery too. Actually, never mind. If he's down 70% from one lap, that is unfortunately not the case. Looks like we have Gypsy coming through the S's. We'll follow along with him. He's not the next person to set a lap, theoretically, but he should be a strong contender for a good position. Obviously, Gypsy, one of the guys who practices fairly often, though that particular maneuver there, not exactly showing it to the best of his abilities. Coming through, chugging along, higher gear than you might, or the game might suggest to you at that time, but obviously this game is all about controlling oversteer. Gypsy with a 114.9 tops the charts at the moment. Stewie coming in right behind him sets a 116.2 on mediums, actually. If he starts on mediums, it's going to be fairly good, but unfortunately his time isn't looking so bright at the moment. I know that's roughly equivalent to a race pace lap, so I'm not 100% sure how that's going to work out for him. Harry crossing the line, a 114.8 that catapults him into provisional pole. And there is the first round, you could say, of hot laps. Looks like Rogue and Throttle will be starting there. It's actually just Rogue. Going to be following behind the Williams of someone. Leslie, it looks like. Rogue coming down to the first complex of turns. That's 1. Here comes 2. Out through 3. Getting, actually stays in 4th gear the entire time. Interesting. I actually hadn't thought of trying that. I'm, gonna be keenly interested in what gear he goes through the S's at. Of course, you know, 6th gear, you have a lot of maneuverability. The car kind of goes anywhere, but the downside is obviously the car goes anywhere. You have lots of issues with oversteer. Hopefully Leslie, who I believe has set his own lap, is going to get out of the way of Rogue before he impedes him. But coming through, shifts down to 5th there, and Rogue loses it. That is Rogue losing his entire wing, and that is not the first time we're going to see that today. So there we go. Let's follow along with Tack. Tack coming through roughly the same part of the track. Who knows? Maybe we'll catch a spin there as well. Doesn't drop to 5th. That's a bit weird, and you can see he's really straddling the curbs here and lifting. Obviously, these particular turns, these curves, are very notorious for their harsh track limits. If you so much as put the fourth wheel off for an ounce of a second, just a bit over the line, your day is ruined and your life is crushed. Coming out of the final turn here, powering down across the line, he's going to set a 114.6, and that's provisional pole for Tact XO. Wow. Very good showing from him indeed. Gonna have to see where Lord Raptor just starting his own lap. We can see how this is gonna go. My apologies. Yeah, see how this is gonna go. Fair Sector 1, although we didn't see too much of it coming through Sector 2. Now this turn, turn 6, is it's obviously a double apex, so it's kind of like you have to hit the turn twice to actually really get all of the momentum you need to carry it through this very fast sweeping section of S's here. You can see he's going one curb on and one curb on, one tire on, one tire off of the track, which is what you'll see most of these boys do all through tonight. Just going to be the key really to pace in, well, anything really, is just you're paying for the entire track, why not use it, right? You just got to go, side to side. So it's a 1:15.7 competitive time, but not too competitive. And we're going to see these times start to fall fairly quickly as Van actually sets a, kind of missed that, but Van does set a 1:14.679, which is just behind Tact by 700ths. Is Terry finally on a flying lap himself? Looks like he is. Yeah, he's short shifting to high heaven. Actually downshifts the first there. I'm going to assume that was an accident, but I am not sure. And he actually goes into fourth here. Is he having an issue with double downshifts? I think he might. I don't know. I know that was an issue that Ruda faced on something. I believe they had similar wheels or whatever. You got a rain race. Yes, we do. Sorry, I just checked. I need to fix the weather, but yeah, it does certainly look like we're gonna have a rain race. Very, very nice. I love that. That's like a very big rain race. A 1:14.2, 4/10 from Tact, and that is provisional pole for Terry. Surprising, genuinely, just no one. But yeah, you can see someone like Ruda is letting third gear on the entry to 6 just rev all the way up to the line, whereas Terry, you can't even see the green bars on the rev counter before he's already shifting up. He's shifting as soon as he can. That's Marankello setting a 1:14.2, taking the position away from Terry. I was told that Marankello was fast, but unfortunately he bought a wheel, so he was not going to be fast tonight. But I guess that is not the case, as it certainly looks like we have two classes of drivers on the field tonight. Ruda's just barely saving himself from impending doom on what was already actually a scrubbed hot lap. Stewie's coming into the pits, as we can see. Lord Raptor is going to be coming through the S's. Looks like Chip is on an outlap, and so is SoCal behind him. So I believe, other than the Mercedes, this is the next card across the line. We can watch along. So it looks like the race is actually going to have a wet start and dry up towards the middle of the race. That is certainly going to play with strategy, which actually means that Stewie's idea of going on those mediums indicates that he is not at all aware of what the race weather is. As we can see, SoCal just overstepped the line ever so slightly and get his lap invalidated. I don't believe he was on a particularly fast lap, but that would rather annoy me if he was and I was him. Looks like Rogue's going to keep coming across the line soon enough. He's in P15 without a time set so far. Looking on track to be a 1:15, 1:14, 1:14.9. Just on the line of a 1:15. And that is only good enough for P7. Interesting attempt from him. Ruda coming into the pits. Gypsy will be crossing the line momentarily with 3/10 improvement for a 1:14.3, putting him into third position. Stellar lap by Gypsy there. SoCal into the pits, and I'm going to call that Leslie on the back straight? No. No. That would be Lord Raptor, then through Sector 3. Looks like he's pulling off in order to let the McLaren by. The McLaren of Sir Harry Hotspur, who's on a hot lap, going to set a time with a 1:14.2, putting him into P2. And that's a grid penalty for Astro. Unfortunately, that is not going to be removed unless... Oh, and that's Leslie DNF'd? Huh? Stewie, I hope you're going to see it. Yeah, that's... The S is exactly where we said. So not only is... Oh, Stewie just ramming the pits there. But yeah, it looks like not only does Leslie get DNF'd, but Astro is going to be serving a grid penalty unless we're forced to restart the lobby, which only occurs, of course, if there's a bug. So if there's a bug lobby, Astro's grid penalty is removed. Otherwise, he is starting with a 5-place demerit. Subject, obviously, not to appeal, because we do not have live stewarding, unfortunately. Sir Harry, with fuel issues, as far as I can tell. What happened, as far as I could see, I believe that Leslie had an incident through the S's and either had damage or was already DNF'd and Astro collided with him and picked up a grid penalty. It's potentially that Astro actually DNF'd him into the wall, and then further penalties will be applied to him on top of the 5 second. Oh, yeah, okay, so well, in that case, yeah, I have no idea. Your car DNF'd, and Astro also got a 5-place grid penalty for colliding with you. So you might want to ask him. TacticXO coming across the line with a 1:14. Oh, 1:13.998! That is provisional pole from TacticXO in the Alpine, taking it away from Marancello. Very, very good job from Tac indeed. That was a 0.3 improvement on his time. I called a 1:14. That was a bit pessimistic from me. Very good from him. Terry only coming across the line with a 1:14.0. So Tac's time standing at the moment. We'll have to see how it comes to fall. Where's Ruda? Ruda's a bit ahead. Coming through this double apex of 6. Down into turn 7 now. Down into 5th. That's generally what we'd expect. Obviously, he's actually riding fairly dangerously. When you're taking the curbs, and he goes even further across the line in order to not actually get a extending penalty. If he had rejoined the circuit normally while he was on the curbs, I'm almost guaranteed that would have been an invalidated lap. But because he went over, it changed the way the game calculates it, and he ended up getting away scot-free. But yeah, what Ruda's doing is he's putting his tires 114.5. He's putting his tires just ever so slightly over the line, which actually isn't the best because the tires end up going on the curves where they have less grip, and that causes a lot of spins. So what you'll see is something like Rogue. Rogue puts his left tire all the way over the curb and his right tire all the way on the track, whereas Ruda was riding his left on the curbs, and that's something you generally don't want to be doing. Although I'm sure if I'm wrong, he'll at me in Discord and complain about it. So, Ruda, if you're about to do that, just don't. Lord Raptor with a 1:15.0 improvement on his previous lap time. I guess he's going to be coming in. Looks like Rogue actually does pick up the invalidation from exactly what he did. Ruda taking out the braking boards and whatnot. That's always fun to see. Thank you, Ruda, for being such an upstanding citizen. We can follow along with Marancello for his entire lap, because I'm sure it's going to be interesting as we're inching towards the end of qualifying, but not totally. Marinkello with a little bit of a moment on the Exeter turn 4. Sorry, the Exeter turn 3 coming into turn 4 now. Through turn 4 into turn 5. Keeping it nice and tidy in third gear. Shifts up to fourth, short shifts down to third only for the double right-hander of turn 6. Coming now into the S's. Shifts down, double down into fifth. Usually you only go up to sixth and shift down once. Lifting ever so slightly each way in order to avoid invalidation. Sliding all over the place, but not so bad. Coming now for the final sector. Actually, my microphone is so close to my face that it's blocking the lap details, so I can't see whether he's up or down on his time. I'll just have to see. It's the viewer experience. With a 1:13.7, he does take provisional pole away from TactXO. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Tact is going to be starting his own hot lap, but an invalidation on his outlap does not spark hope, faith, or confidence. Puts his car all the way on the curbing on the left there, and then just takes a very wide approach into the turn, something that you might see in a hot lap video, and a direct contrast to Marinkello, who's jumped him by 2/10. Almost 3. Down second for the double right-hander of turn 6. Doesn't downshift into fifth for turn 7. Now 8, 9, 10. Terry actually setting a 1:13.6. Probably should have been following him, but oh well. This is the viewer experience. Tack down 1/10 on his time. Will it be enough? Thankfully does not take an invalidation. Short shifts into fourth. Short shifts, no, does not go up into fifth actually. Chipsy retires. Tack coming across the line. It's going to be a 1:13.8. Only good enough for P3. And that is Terry in P1 with provisional pole. TactXO in P3. Marinkello P2. Van P4. Harry Hotspur P5. And that is the end. Whew. Thank you, IDJ, for the raid of 39 people. Welcome. We are in Mexico for our Tier 1 race. We just finished qualifying. Terry with taking provisional pole coming into the race. There's also a telemetry if you'd like to follow along at home. Let me get that linked in chat for you. There's telemetry if you'd like to follow along at home, and we are about to rock in for 36 laps of Mexico. It's going to be a wet race to start with, and it'll turn dry as the day goes on, or as the race goes on. So that'll be another interesting factor. Of course, everyone's been qualifying on softs because they know they're not going to start on their Q2, or in this case, just qualifying tires. Gonna see what that incident was for. Lots of invalidated times, but what are we looking for here? Yeah, so it looks like Astro did collide with Leslie and caused a DNF. Still not sure what that was, or Leslie, Lepson, whatever. Keep your names consistent if you want consistent pronunciation on the broadcast. And here we have the rain, ladies and gents. This is what we were waiting for. It's going to be an interesting race. First, we have the formation lap, which is vital. Everyone's going to need to heat up their tires, and believe me, that's harder than you would think in the wets. Those tires do not want to heat. Safety car in the first lap. Actually, I think that's fairly likely. We've seen it in the drive for these guys. Pulling it out in the wet should be no mean feat. Now we have 15 seconds for the drivers to lock in their setups. They only have minimal changes from qualifying, so they They might have actually spotted there was a wet race and put on a wet setup, though the rain is not expected to last the entire race. We'll have to wait a couple of seconds to find out exactly what from the telemetry, which is currently broken because it's still in qualifying mode. Oh boy. There... No, it's still broken a bit. Oh well. If it's broken for you, if the weather's not on one line, just zoom out. Give it a little zoom by one. And yeah, I mean... I really hope the telemetry keeps working. Yeah, it looks like it does. That's great. Honestly, this is fantastic. Astro obviously getting disqualified. With the grid penalty. With a poor qualifying time, we'll start at the back. Leslie having a banker time already. Definitely helps him. I'll have to see if anyone gets disqualified from the formation lap for collisions. Looks like the lead cars are already... well away. That's a fairly hefty gap. We're into Sector 2 already with these guys, before some people have even cleared Turn 1. I guess they did not get the message to slow the F train down. And it looks like most of the drivers actually quite smartly have set themselves to be underfueled by a few laps. Obviously, we can't increase engine modes anymore. You can only decrease them under safety car. So if a safety car doesn't come out, so they're not able to go to lean, they're still able to lift and coast to recover that energy. Whew. This is going to be a tense opening lap. Looks like, yeah, I mean, the guys at the back are well at the back. They're taking their sweet grand old time to get to the grid. I'm not sure whether they can be disqualified for going too slow or what, but here we are. And yeah, it does look like we have rain for about 15 minutes before it transitions to dry, so I imagine... Actually, everyone's starting on the inters. Let me get all the stuff back up for you. Details, we'll do position change to start with. Actually, just tires. Yeah, everyone's on inters. I imagine the inters might last for 15 minutes. That'll be, what... yeah, they can make it to lap 17, no problem. So they should definitely be able to last at least one lap, or at least until the dry comes. So I imagine it might be a inters to mediums, potentially inters to softs, but nah, it would definitely be inters to mediums till the end. And even then, it might be a medium. And actually, at that point, you would do soft. So we'll have to see. It'll obviously be an interesting call for the drivers to make. And this is the end of the formation lap, and we are beginning with 5 lights. This is never synced. And away we go now. There we are. Astro already a position off the line. This is going fantastic for everyone. Tack in P3 riding up the inside. What a great view from here we get. Coming down, looks like everyone's going through fine. No spins, no calamity. Astro's already recovered a single position. That's good for him. Chipsy down 3 positions off the start. Oh, and that is a Haas into the wall. That'll be, actually, no, not a Haas. That'll be a Williams. Williams into the wall. And that is Rogue up 5 positions from the start. Very nice from him. Chipsy down 4 now. Gets passed by his own teammate. And Tack getting passed by Rogue. Well, right on board with Terry as he comes through the first set of S's in the wets. Obviously, the weight transfer is going to be very different in the wets compared to everyone else. Looks like there are yellow flags for a Ginger who's off at the back. Ooh, and Ruda fighting desperately with Rosefest here. Oh, and Ruda's spinning! Oh, that might have been a rear end by Smithy, I'm not sure. But Ruda is out of the picture, so to speak. He has recovered a decent amount. Not so bad, but looks like Chipsy does drop the position to Smithy. And that's Smithy up 6 positions from the start. SoCal trying to just keep his presence known with Lord Raptor without actually endangering either of them. Very nice driving from him, not trying to stick it where it doesn't belong. Chipsy letting Ruda past once again. A little bit of Aston Martin team orders going on there. Looks like Maranello is very close to the rear of Chipsy coming out of the S's. It must be very difficult actually to maintain that kind of gap when you're in the S's, especially in the wet, because you obviously don't know what kind of impact the loss of downforce will have on you. And it looks like he might be going for a move soon enough. He certainly is along the rear. Terry, obviously known for and that's the fastest lap, falling 3 times in 3 seconds as they once again dropping. But yeah, looks like Terry is known for, in the dry conditions, short shifting religiously, and he goes wide. Terry breaks deep, goes wide, and loses the position, and he actually tries to come back into track, gets spun, contacting the rear of Maranello, and that is Terry down into P8 at least, maybe P9, depending on how quickly this McLaren can capitalize. And thank you, Apple Updater. Don't want to update your software. And yeah, that's Terry into P9 from the disastrous recovery of his little oopsies at turn 1. Oh, and that's, no, I was about to say that's Smithy going off, but no, that's Smithy playing on a hot spot, and his laggy ghost taking out Terry. Terry, who now, like, just does the biggest cut you've ever seen in your life, and Smithy is spun around. Was that Terry's doing? I'm not sure. I did not catch it. But yeah, that's Smithy rubber banding. Obviously, he's racing on a hot spot tonight, as well as Rogue, so those are 2 people to watch out for their, we'll call them dangerous maneuvers. Maranello setting the fastest time after disposing of Terry, so to speak. And Terry's coming into the pits to fix his wing damage. 15% on the right side, 3% on the right. Sorry, 15 on the left, 3% on the right. So nothing major, but still worthy of repair, as we see Tack getting a bit of ahead of himself. Ambition well ahead of Ahejan there, going just on to the runoff. Looks like there's a battle between Lord Raptor and Astro. Astro trying to get around the outside of Lord Raptor here through turns 4 and 5, now into turn 6. Lord Raptor having to contend with Throttle throwing Astro to the wind here. Will he get the move done around the outside into turn 7? Yes, he will. A little bit of a rear end in turn 6 and a little bit of a pass in turn 7. We'll see. I have to see how long this lasts. So I cannot imagine a train in the wets through this part of the track ending very well for anyone. It's like Throttle's feinting a move up the inside. I'm really not sure what the purpose of that is. Just psychological warfare, I guess. But I mean, these guys do it so often, you can't really expect anything. Oh, and that's Chipsy in the Aston Martin rejoining. I imagine that'll be after Smithy, or Smithy's about to beat him. Yeah. And Mr. Chip not going into the pits, so he doesn't have damage, just went wide. Have a bit of a car troubles there. Astro just 7/10 behind the rear of SoCal, leading a fairly big train behind him. With Astro in the Haas closing quite close to Throttle's gearbox, with 2 cars just trailing along behind him. Throttle looks like he's a bit of a stopgap, just backing up the pack from Astro. Rogue, in terms of interval, looks like he's close to Marankello fairly closely. Deploying his energy on the straights, he does have a lot more. No, he's just around the same as Marankello. Attack, keeping them both well within striking range. And of course, if you are a race engineer for a driver, I would love to hear when Jeff believes the reign's gonna end. Just personally, I want to find that out. Not to disseminate the information to all the other drivers. No. I hate giving people information. Astro getting by Throttle. Yeah, into turn 1, and that's Smithy off again. Really not sure. Oh, no, he's back. It's fine. He just rubber banded back. It's all good. It's all good. And yeah, it looks like, I mean, Throttle's backed up the pack from Lord Raptor by quite a bit, so I imagine that it's imperative for them to get through that. Ruda on the gearbox of Rose here, coming through the S's. Nice little helicam. You can see they're also following a car in front of them. That is a yellow flag with Astro spun at the back. Can't say that's all that surprising. Ruda going for a move up the inside. No, these drivers, they feint a move up the inside and they just tuck back behind. If you have room to pull out and come back in, you don't have the room to make the move. You don't have the distance. You need to get closer. So stop doing it. My God. This entire train is just so developed. Their batteries, so they really not struggling for energy at all. Harry getting passed by Rose into turn 1. Ruda is going to be passing Harry into turn 4, I'm going to say. Yeah, he does get by on the straight and lead up to turn 4. Rogue looks like he's closing tremendously to Marankello through the S's, as he might have just picked up a warning there. I'm really not sure. Actually, you know what? Doesn't look like anyone's actually picked up a warning yet. Either that or my telemetry's broken beyond repair. But it does look like, yeah, I think we're fine. And Marankello's wearing his tires a bit heavier than anyone else's. He has technically driven the most race distance of anyone at any given time while he's still in the lead. But yeah, he's a good 4% higher than anyone else. So we'll have to see how that works. And he's also 20% lower on battery than Rogue, but Rogue is quickly measuring up that gap. Rose on the back of Stewie. Stewie, the uncomfortable meat in a Ferrari sandwich. We'll see this from the onboard of Rose. Was able to actually close fairly well through the 1-2-3 complex. As a little moment of oversteering, does look like Stewie does get the better getaway out of turn 3 down towards turn 4, which is normally a DRS zone actually when it is dry. That is a DRS zone whose detection point is at the pit lane line, or it's equivalent to what the start finish. Essentially, it's one giant DRS zone. With the exception of the turn 1, 2, 3 complex, which is not included, but it's, whew. What if there's no safety car for the top 3 negative on fuel? They're going to have to lift and coast to save. And that's really as simple as that. I mean, it's not like they'll have to lift and coast 4 laps or something. Obviously, you can't set it to lean if there's no safety car, but you can, like, you know, just glide your way through, I guess. Rogue taking the fastest lap. Still just under a second behind Marankello, but they're both gapping Tack by about 2 seconds, and it looks like, yeah, Rose is just He's catching up on corner entries and through the corners, but he's very much missing as Astro now picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Yeah, he's just, he's losing him through the corners, and it looks like Rudo's right on the rear of Rose, and he, once again, is just, all these drivers, they all do it. They move their cars to look at the inside and then pull back into the slipstream by the time it's the braking zone for the corner, and I don't understand why. I guess they're like positioning themselves as if that person was going to have an earlier braking than they expected, so they could just shoot it up the inside, but like that never happens. That being said, Ruda getting loose after he does get the move done on Rose, after Rose does have a deep brake, but guess what? Ruda was on the outside and he didn't actually have to do that because he got the move done before the corner even happened. And he didn't have to fake a move up the inside to get it done. That's all I'm saying. SoCal at least not diving back to the slipstream of Leslie when he realizes that's not going to happen. Stewie also picking up multiple warning penalty. Tack falling back another second from the last time we checked a lap and a half ago. He's not having fun. Arnkella with a 3-second multiple warning time penalty. And it should be drying up in about 15 minutes time. So maybe it will be a sprint finish to the end. It all depends. These laps are about a minute and a half each. So we'll have to see. Apparently the warning system is not working. That's unfortunate. I'll have to fix that. That's great. Love that. Oh, we got such a tray! My goodness, Smithy. He really needs to get off a hotspot. That just gave me a heart attack. Thought he was doing an unreasonable dive on Chipsy, like he's just doing right now, forcing him to the extremes of the track. And I feel bad for Chipsy, because there's not a lot you can do when your opponent's lagging that badly. It's not dial-up, he's genuinely running off his phone hotspot because he just moved tonight. I wonder what the split is for the grid as to whether they knew that at some point the race was going to run dry, so they'd pit onto dry tires, or whether they prepared for the wet knowing that the majority of the race would be under wets, because it's looking, at least for the moment, like it will be. And that's throttle in for the first time, and doesn't look like he's wing damage, so that might be a genuine pit stop. I know the pit strategy said pit window open from lap 12 to 17, Sorry, I was actually looking away from the screen while Terry was getting an overtake there on Chipsy. But yeah, lap 12 to 17 is the pit window for the Inters, so it does look like Doddle's taking them up on that and getting a fresh set. Not, sure. Tack picking up a 3-second time penalty for track extensions. Tack, my boy. Why? Why do you hurt me? Obviously, we could tell that Smithy has not been vaccinated, or his 5G would be well boosted by now. Unfortunate. Terry catching the lagging, rubber banding, desecrated chassis that used to be Smithy, but we have no way to confirm, as the ping is a couple of 100 seconds. So yeah, that's. I mean, fair play to Terry. It does say in our rules that if you ghost through a car, it is at your own risk. So, I mean, I guess that's a legitimate overtake maneuver. I'm not sure, but if Smithy tries to do that back to Terry and he just kills him, that'd be hilarious. Because ghosting is technically supposed to be off, but of course that's only for spun cars. If Cody's has severe network issues, then they do resort to ghosting to solve discrepancies in XY coordinates. Smithy is gonna murder someone with that connection. I mean, yeah, but we'll have to see. Or he might get murdered by Chipsy there, just completely ignoring his presence because it didn't load in for him. Probably. We'll have to see. Rogue is actually caught up fairly well to the back of Maranello. I mean, he's been within a second basically the entire race, but now it's, within half a second. They're pretty similar on battery. That being said, Rogue actually does have less battery than Maranello, who does have slightly more worn tires than he does. But, yeah, going below 10%, that's basically nothing for Rogue, obviously. If you are looking at the telemetry screen and you're wondering, oh, why isn't there a bar for the last 10%, you do a thing called derating when you're discharging at 10%, where you're using more energy than the battery can physically deliver to you, and it degrades the performance when you're under 10% battery. Looks like that is a lapped car pulling off instead of just letting them go. That's an interesting tactic, but I hope it works for them. I mean, it's better than getting in the way, but it's not as good as just being a respectful car and just pulling off to the side for a second. You don't need to go off track. Yeah, that is a 9% wear discrepancy between Maranello and Rogue. So Maranello is definitely using his tires a lot more than Rogue is. I wonder if Maranello is gonna dive into the pits at this point, or if he's going to put it off for another 2 laps and see just how close he can get to these dry conditions, because it only should be raining for another 5 minutes before it starts to dry up. And I just don't think he could last that long, but he might try. We'll have to see. You can see on his dash the pit window is open, but he's deciding to keep going. And I mean, honestly, like, if Jeff's telling you like 5 minutes it starts to dry up, that's what, 4 laps, plus, I don't know, another 2 or 3. Can he do another 7 laps on those tires? I mean, it brings him up to 90%. Is 90% Inters? Is that a safety car? Yeah, it's a safety car. I'm really sorry. The HUD is completely broken, but that's a full safety car. Okay. Why? Huh? What? What? Like, what's going on? Alright, let me try to cycle the HUD here. We'll do the cinematic experience for a second. Nope, still not showing us the... Okay, alright. But yeah, trust me, folks, it is a full safety car. But I mean, what we were saying before, I mean, it's completely nullified by this. Obviously, if you're in first and there's a safety car out and it has not picked you up, the smart thing to do is for both, for everyone actually to pit. Just pit onto new Inters, because by the end of the safety car, I doubt it's going to be dries. And, yeah, I mean, even if it is, so what, you go 2 or 3 more laps, it's not going to dry up completely under safety car. You're still going to need the inters. You can't go to slicks immediately as soon as it stops raining. And it is still raining for another 5 minutes. What I was saying before, though, the 9% inters might be a better bet than pitting again on 60% for slicks, but there we go. As the entire field should now be coming into the pits for fresh inters. I really hope that's what happens, because if it's not, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry real hard tears. Actually, you know what? There is a certain subset of people who do not need to pit, and that are the ones that already pit. That'll be SoCal in P14 and Throttle in P12. They're already on fresh enough inters. SoCal's at 26%. Honestly, I just take those to the end. You don't want to pit for a third time for inters. Just take the free position gain that was given to you. Actually, let's see where SoCal is so we can follow along whether he decides to go in or not. Mediums for Marinkello. Huh. That is right. Okay, that's interesting. It's still raining. It is not raining. It's still raining, and everyone else pit for inters. I mean, depending on how long the safety car lasts, it might be a good idea, but I doubt it. Okay, well, I mean, we'll have to see. Smithy on Hearts? God damn. Yeah, it looks like, I mean, everyone else who pit is pit for slicks. Maybe it's time? Maybe it isn't raining? I don't know. The camera certainly seems to be telling me it's raining with all these drops. But I don't see any actual physical rain anymore. So maybe it is drying up, and depending on how long the safety car lasts, I'll have to see. Actually, you know what? I'll turn the HUD back on. Details. We can go to tires. It looks like 3 people are on slicks, and one of them has just come back into the pits. So, yeah, I mean, okay. Sure. Maybe Smithy pit again because he damaged his wing or something? I don't know. We'll have to see. It might be a master stroke from Marinkello. Certainly, if they're going for another lap and it's still, I mean, we're getting close to the line, right? There's still visible spray coming from the tires, and obviously the slicks are hard to control on a wet track. But I think Smithy's retired from the session, and the S's on slicks. So I guess that's your answer. Yep. Okay. The safety car pack is actually gonna come past him again. Oh, those guys at the back are really at the back, huh? Yeah, I mean, for Marinkello's sake, I hope the restart doesn't drop now, because that would be really unfortunate for him. He's not, I don't think the track's competitive enough for him yet. He's going to need at least, 2 more laps, and I don't think it's going to happen for him. He's going to need at least 1 more lap, definitely, probably 2. Maybe even 3. Like, I'm really not sure at what point these softs become competitive, but I imagine it's at least when you get driven in dry line. Looks like he's following the safety car quite closely, so I doubt the restart's coming now. Crossing the pit lane exit white line is a 5-second penalty? Since when? I thought it was just a warrant. Is that the second time he's done that? Who was it? What? Okay, hold on. That was whom again? Okay, Ginger Bear. Yeah, so it's a warning and then a 5-second penalty, I guess? Okay? I guess you were warned. And now people who are pitting are coming in for the slicks, so I guess it is slick time, maybe. We'll have to see. I do think if this works out for Marinkello, then it's really worked out for Marinkello. it'll have been a master stroke. And I mean, there's no spray on the... I was about to say there's no spray. There's very little spray on the tires now. I think it's probably about 50-50 if someone in chat is a driver and you can, tab out to let me know what Jeff is saying. Yeah, everyone's spinning for slicks now. So I hope the car comes in now and just completely ruins the day of everyone from P2 to P10, because that'd be great. That'd be glorious for a real twist on the head. And, I mean, master stroke to Maranello, I think that alone deserves the driver of the day to be able to foretell that the safety car is going to last long enough, or, foretell, gamble, bet, like, whatever, guess. Takes intuition, and it paid off really well. I've also paid off really well for Rose and Lord Raptor. Yeah, safety car in this lap. I mean, we'll have to see. We'll really, really have to see how this rolls. Whether they're actually faster. I'm not sure that they are. We'll have to see how the medium runners do. It looks like Rogues... I mean, there is one way to tell, which unfortunately I actually did get rid of. If the inters are heating up far too much already, it looks like, yeah, Maranello's done a really good job of backing up the pack and just waiting before he goes. Really pissing off Rogue, I'd guess. But yeah, and here he goes. And that's, I mean, that's tack right on the rear of Maranello, right on the rear of Rogue. We'll see this from the perspective of Tac XO. Unfortunately, we're not going to catch the rest of the grid. But that is the answer. It looks like Rogue is out-dragging Maranello to the line, but that is kind of to be expected. Oh, and Tac just going a bit late on the brakes. It does look like it's changed over time. So, I mean, at the very least, if Maranello is able to fight and keep this position, if he's able to keep, P1, P2, anywhere down to P8, everyone else has to pit after him, and this is tires he can go on until the end. Like, I foretell no more pit stops unless safety car or some other strategy demands it. It looks like, yeah, Maranello is back into P1 at this point, so I think the inters and the slicks are evenly matched. As we continue to go on, I think it'll be time for Tac and Rogue to come into the pits. They are fairly quickly, and that's another DNF for Lord Raptor this time on the entrance now to the pits. A safety car again. Another safety car. Are you kidding me? I mean, that's completely nullified the strategic advantage from Maranello. Really unfortunate. Like, I understand the game mechanics and everything, but that is a really risky move from Maranello that just didn't pay off because now everyone gets a free pit stop. That, I mean, it sucks to be them. At least the field's going to jump and revert, basically. Everyone in the bottom 10 are going to jump up to the top 10 as the rest of the inter-runners have to come into pit. But, I mean, that was a very, very good move. A very good call from Maranello and just completely nullified that advantage, unfortunately, for him. But, yeah, that is that. And if you'll excuse me for a hot second, I just want to go check if somebody has said anything in chat about it. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Rose, what the heck? Okay. Alright, Rosefest. That's, your Jeff must be on something else. Actually, Stewie, I respect the call from Stewie to go 16 laps on the softs, because, I mean, like, the softs last 14 at best, but they're a lot quicker. He's going to be fighting in traffic, plus he has the penalties. So he needs to get ahead. He needs to get ahead quickly, and he doesn't, like, dealing with the fall off from that is not bad. Is it raining again? What the hell? Okay. I mean, I guess it's just drizzling again. I'm not sure. It doesn't look like we're back on for another rainstorm, but Rose is definitely coming in. But yeah, Stewie, I respect the call. Like, he needs to fight. He needs to fight his way up the grid, and he has that penalty. He needs to get up pretty quickly. So, especially, if this safety car lasts 2 laps, that's 2 laps grace. That's 14 laps of racing on these softs. Easily doable. No issue at all. I think this is a really good call from him. Maranello is about to be picked up by the safety car to finally form the queue again. And here we go. With a, what seems to be almost a complete reversion of the top 10. Tact XO sitting in a very comfortable P3 is actually in P11 now. Rogue, who was in P2, is down to P6. Terry, who had unfortunate accident in the opening stages of the race, dropping from P2, fighting with Marankello to, all the way to the back towards P13. Now he's up into P5. It's been an interesting race so far. And I cannot tell you that I love what the safety car is doing to it, but, Safety car counter for the next stream? Sure. We can do that, as long as you're the one streaming. Sir, I'm supposed to be here tonight, but I'm not actually supposed to be here tonight, Niall Drake. Niall Flaky Drake. It's in the XL. You know who you remind me, Niall? You remind me of boomers who are like, "Oh, are you playing the Nintendo?" It's like, no, Grandma, this is a PlayStation 5. They call everything the Nintendo. You call any spreadsheet the XL. It's a CSV, okay? It's also in Google Sheets. Google's gonna sue your ass. Also, what kind of lousy vacation are you on that you have to watch this stream? Well, the grid's formed up, and if you believe Chipsy and all the other hipsters, that means the safety car will be in this lap. Well, I'm just gonna eat my words, aren't I? The safety car is in this lap, so we'll have to see how our leader, who becomes the pace car, does on this start, where the last one he kind of bungled it. He bungled it all the way to the jungle. It's the bungle in the jungle. But now he leads the pack. Is he gonna get mugged off this restart immediately again? Still warming his tires coming through the last turn, and if he guns it now, I mean, Harry's right on him. He's gone. Fairly good jump. I still think that, you know, the slipstream and how powerful it is on the straight in Mexico is a bit unfortunate. It looks like we got blue flags already and a fairly massive gap between P6 and P7. That's Stewie on the softs, just getting, I don't know. But he's I mean, he's on the softs. He's the only one. It's a good decision, honestly. Everyone should have gone to the softs. I do think he's going to make it quite comfortably to the end. We're picking up a 3-second penalty, and we'll see later what the ramifications of that are. Everyone getting through fairly cleanly. Stewie on those softs as, I mean, a lot of work to do, basically, as the back markers now need to filter right the way to the back. You can go on board with Stewie, I guess. Track still looks like it's a bit damp, so they'll have to be careful. But Throttle and Rogue, two unlikely teammates, actually. Not only unlikely teammates, but literally not teammates. I believe that Throttle is supposed to be in the AlphaTauri. I'm not sure why he's in the Red Bull. I think he climbed into the wrong seat. But yeah, he's actually spawning at the back now. F for him. Can we get an F in chat? No, I actually don't want that. Don't let me know that there's nobody listening. It's painful. Stewie, a second behind Rogue, up into P6 after seemingly the homicide of Mr. Throttle. Go for a few cinematic shots of this fight here. Looks like that's SoCal into the pits. No, he just fell back in position. Alright. Rogue getting the move done on SoCal through here. Will it be? He's still fighting quite intently through turns 3 and 4. Is that SoCal spun? It is. It's an unfortunate move from Rogue there. But that is the way she goes sometimes. Unfortunate as that is. See, Tac-XO actually on the rear of Stewie. Stewie with the soft tires, Tac with the not soft tires but fast car. Or is it a fast car or if it's a fast driver? Astro leaving the session, DNFing. Jack going through the outside, going off track to get the move done. Okay. Alright, if that's what you choose to do, Tac, we all love and support you. Terry fighting back with Marinkella at the top here. Oh, and Terry... Yeah, that was not gonna end well. That was a late break and a flippant disregard of other people's proximity. Van leading a bit of a train here, with his teammate behind him and a hungry Ruda. I thought I was gonna say hippo, but it's a Ruda. Hungry Ruda is filtering along beside them. Looks like Terry's recovered enough to want that position from Smithy, and I am going to guess that we're gonna see it happen. Will he be able to break in time? I think so. And the unfortunate thing that we're about to see is that on this next DRS straight, Cheku's wing opens. Yeah, that's right, it's Terry's. It's the Mercedes. Looks like everyone's running out of energy. They're deploying so much. Like, saved it during the entire wet period. Oh, and that looked like Terry having another moment, but I guess it was just the profile of the turn. Very deceptive indeed. Let's go to 6. Let's see how Rose is doing. Rosefest fighting Van. Well, fighting or just trailing behind his teammate, trying to create a buffer. Who knows? As we see Rogue going, nope, fainting up the inside of Smithy. Sorry, of Sir Harry in the McLaren there. Looks like he's edging for a move on the inside. And he gets it done. Whereas Rose still following his teammate of Van in front of him. Having to contend with a non-happy camper behind them both. That unhappy camper is Ruda. You know what? I promised everyone penalties, so we'll do that. As I could see that Tac just picked up another one, so we'll go penalties. 5 seconds penalty for Terry. Not sure what that's from. Marinkella 3 seconds. Rogue 3 seconds. So, I mean, theoretically, Marinkella actually has the victory secure in his hands. As now that Terry picks up an additional penalty, it's sure shit. 6 seconds for Ruda, 6 seconds for Tack as well. But, not boding well. That second safety car really destroying the race of a lot of people. Really flipping things on their head. I wonder if we're going to be switching to reduced safety cars instead of standard. Ruda saving himself from utter devastation in the Bottas wall. Rose following along with his teammate. I wonder if Ferrari team orders are in play. We'll have to see. We'll have to monitor their gap to Sir Harry. At turn 1, it was 2 seconds. We'll have to see what it is next lap, and if it's not improved, then might I suggest to the Ferrari engineers swapping your cars around, because it does seem like Rose has quite a bit more pace than Van if he's able to stay this close. It looks like he's actually backing off at some sectors just to give Van more room and to catch back up. Looks like Rose is going for the move on Van, with Ruda following close behind, probably trying to pick up the scraps of a Ferrari battle, and he does by getting past Rose, who is not able to complete the move on Van, and that is Ruda about to slice and dice his way through both Ferraris, as Ruda does retain DRS from the first DRS sector, and Van has none because he was the lead car of this daisy train. It's a daisy chain, but I know daisy train. Oh, and that's... What? What just happened? I mean, what? Okay, alright. We've had our fun. It's, okay. It's Ruda dropping a position attack. And Rose still behind Van. I wonder if he's going to finally get him on this straight, where Ruda kind of interrupted the game plan last time round. Here, it's a solid go for Rose. Rose not actually deploying his energy because he's barely any left. And is he letting off? Oh, that is so not in the spirit of things, Rose. We are going to have words. Someone in chat remind me, post-race interview with Rose, to torment him about his decision to not attack his teammate. Weak. Coward. My God. Terrible. Terrible. I hope Tack passes them both and then they crash out and die. That was a shameful display. Looks like Rose having a little snappy moment there. Does correct it. And now, Tack's real close. Throttle picking up 12 seconds penalties, same as Ginger in the back there. Ruda with only 9 seconds. Terry with 8. That's a 5 and a 3. For anyone who did not complete basic elementary arithmetic. Ooh, Tack having a moment and just very close to saving it and losing it at the same time, and he's burning his energy. He's not actually deploying it. Obviously, the energy management program in the game is deciding to use it. Oh, Marankello picking up 6 seconds of penalties against Terry's. Theoretically, Terry can appeal one of his 5 seconds. I mean, it really depends on what's it. safety car? Are you kidding me? God damn it. Yeah, we're gonna have to decrease the amount of safety cars. I mean, this is ridiculous. All this does is really punish the people who have these penalties. Conceivably, like, it lasts at least until 33, and then even if it comes in on 34, that's 35, 36 of racing. And that is not enough room for Marankello to actually get away. Did Marankello come into the pits? Yeah. He's into the pits for softs? Did he? What? What? I'm really not sure what happened there. And I'm also not sure why the thing gets so big sometimes. She gets chonky. I don't know what forces the chonk. Is it the pit thing? Can't be the pit. I'm really not sure why the telemetry squares get so big. I'll have to figure that out at some point. But yeah, this is really unfortunate. Make a note of that. My second post-race interview will be to Tack and Chipsy, asking them what they plan to do about the safety cars. Because this is more disgraceful than Rose refusing to race his teammate, as that promotes for some reason, the Ferrari boys into a P1 and P2. I mean, Marankello's, like, he's got the sauce, right? He's only in P4. But, like, that is 2 laps to yeah, I mean, unless the safety car is in this lap, which I doubt it is, it's going to be, I mean, really tough to pill to swallow for a lot of guys who are just going to get so penalized because of the penalties. I mean, obviously, you could say to them, just don't take penalties in the first place, and you won't have situations like this. You gotta, in the back of your mind, you have to be thinking about, like, oh crap, these penalties are really screw me over. But, yeah, I mean, it's really unfortunate for them. If we get 3 laps of racing at best no, we won't even get 3 laps. We'll get 2 laps of racing at best. It's, really not an ideal scenario. There is obviously the possibility that we only get 1 lap of racing, and that's even worse. It's like a free instant win, I guess, to Rose, as long as he can... I mean, at this point, right, like, if you're Van, what do? You let your teammate by so that he has a chance of contending for the win. Because all you're doing is effectively adding, like, onto a second that you need to claw back collectively from Terry. Whereas if Rose remains within 8 seconds, 3 seconds if he appeals it, if you're Van, if you're Van, you do not tell Rose to break Marankello. You tell Rose to pass you on the restart, like, immediately, and then you break Marankello. That's all. You gotta be thinking about the win, because if what they're doing is, even if Ferrari get a 1-2, because Rose acts as a buffer between Van and Marankello, who already has 3 seconds more penalties. Safety car even going to be in this lap? Yeah, okay, it is. But yeah, I mean, the smart thing to do is swap the Ferraris and let Rose have a go at keeping within 8 seconds of Terry, because all Van's doing is adding on to a second. And I mean, it's not that big, but Terry's a very quick guy when he needs to be. It is essentially 2 laps of racing, but stranger things have happened, especially if he can appeal that 5 seconds. It's effectively like, if you see somebody with a 5-second penalty, you gotta know, like, there's a chance they appeal it. And honestly, if I was Van, I would not have slowed down there. I would have gunned it and just prayed that I was alongside across the line, which he, on all likelihood, he would have been. Van going for a move on Terry into turn 1 might be a good idea. It might not be. We'll have to see. He does stay behind. We've seen Terry overshoot before, but yeah, I mean, I think... Oh, and that's Rose getting... Oh, and that's actually a lot of debris and calamity from the cars behind. That's Rose. Actually still in P3. Very good from him. Oh, and that's a harsh DNF. Can we see that again? I'm really not sure what happened there. But that's 11 people finishing this race in Tier 1? Come on, guys. I know Mexico is a hard track, but, like, good lord. Rogue getting the move done on Rose, and that's exactly why you have to swap Van and Van's going for the win, and that's just not the smart team play. Because if Terry gets that 5 seconds removed, then guess what? Terry wins, and you could have had a Ferrari win instead. He should have acted as a buffer to his teammate. It's just, it's. Ooh. These guys are going to need to go through, everyone's going to need to go through the race. There are a lot of learning opportunities in this race. I mean, there's, strokes of brilliance. The Maranello's just complete masterclass of strategy, where he decides to stick it out on the mediums during the safety car while it's still raining, hoping that the dry track comes, and it does. The track comes to him. It's pretty impressive. Now, I mean, Rogue might get past Van, and that is effectively you're gifting Rogue the win here. If, of course, Terry doesn't have penalties that he needs to appeal. And that's Rose falling even further back to Sir Harry, and Sir Harry doesn't have penalties, and now Rose is under attack by Chipsy. Does Rose have wing damage? And Rose is spun. God. I think really Ferrari, and that's a penalty that he might appeal, but I think Ferrari really kind of bungled the strategy at the end. We'll have to ask them about it. But that's Rogue on the last lap, last sector, going for a move. Is he going to get it done? He does have the softs, and I think he's going to get it done on Van. And yeah, that's Rogue P1, Van P2, Sir Harry P3. And that's a safety car dictated podium, really. That's all it is. Not the ideal ending to, and Sir Harry actually takes the win. Of course, I didn't even register that. Yeah, without the penalties, that's Sir Harry in the win, and that's Rose in P6. Yeah, I'm not sure. Van might be ahead on points, but Van's not going to win the Drivers' Championship, but they have the chance to win the Constructors with good points hauls. But what they've done is, instead of getting a 1-3 or a 1-2 or a 1-4, they've gotten a 3-6. Just... yeah, Rose easily could have won the race, and I think it was a mistake to not revert them. But that is that. We'll go to driver interviews now. Actually... can't do driver interviews before I get the race director. Made that mistake before. Alright, there we go. We'll move over into interviews. And our first interview of the night is going to be the Ferrari gentleman. Hello, Ferrari. Welcome to commentary. Got a couple of questions for you.
Hello.
Rose, do you agree with the assessment that you are a coward and not a racing driver because you backed off and didn't fight Van into turn 1 that one time?
No, I think...
so that brings us into the next question. If you team stratted, why didn't you switch on the safety car restart? It was clearly, and I don't want to be like, hey, this is what you should have done, because I wasn't in the moment, but this is what you should have done. You should have reverted yourselves, and it would have been a Rose P1. Easy. The final safety car restart where you had to battle for a lap and a half.
Oh, yeah, well, that was a tough one, though, because everyone was on soft, and they were really, really fast, so I don't know.
Yeah, we thought, we knew Maranello would get past Rose, but, yeah, unfortunate that Rose got spun.
I mean, it was contact, and really, I espoused it on the stream quite enough. Everyone's tired of it, but really... I do believe that you guys should have inverted, and it would have been a pretty solid 1-3 for you. 1-4 at the worst, but instead you walked away with a 3 and 4. Do you know where Sir Harry ended up?
Wait, 3 and 4?
Well, no, you guys got a 3-6.
No, he got 7, and I got
Yeah,
3rd.
but I should get 6 though, because I got 3,
Yeah,
4
we
warnings for
saw that.
one corner.
But
Yeah,
Sir Harry
got the
win.
win, and
got
he
the
had
win.
no penalties, and he was further down the rows. So I really do think if you guys had flipped, it would have been a win for Ferrari, and then Van could have ended up wherever. Anyway, that was all. So the backing off was you deciding to not pass Van for some reason. Like I would have.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose time. Because the thing
Look,
is,
all I'm
if I have
saying
someone
is-
behind and we lose time, we're gonna get overtaken.
I would have thought
Look. I'm Charles Leclerc, okay? I'm driver number 1.
Van, and I say this with a bit of admiration and tiny little dust of respect. Rose had pace on you. You should have switched. You should have switched like
He did.
multiple times.
Well, we didn't want to switch
because
we knew.
because ego.
We're team players,
All right.
you know?
That's
That's
get
why.
out of my channel, cowards.
Okay, bye.
Next up, we are going to bring in Chipsy. Chipsy, hello, welcome to commentary. And then I need
Hello.
the other one. Where are you?
Bringing
No,
in
I'm not
teams,
bringing
huh?
in your
Okay,
teammate. I'm
cool.
bringing in the other person of any position of power. This is a question directed at the mod and the admin. Are you guys thinking about changing the safety cars because of what is known as safety car
Yeah.
bullshittery?
Yes.
Yeah. No,
100%.
I think this is probably the last round that we do standard. I think reduce
Because-
because man, like every single crash basically is a safety car. There's no VSCs or anything like that. Chipsy, you brought the safety car, right? But you didn't DNF.
No, I didn't bring out the safety car.
Well,
for
I
that
mean,
one.
there was the first safety car. Listen, the
Oh, maybe
first
I
safety
did. I
car
have
was
no idea.
fine. And then Marankello with a brilliant strategy, getting out in front. That was a very, very bold move from him to pit onto the mediums early, and that
Yeah.
advantage is completely nullified by an immediate follow-up safety car. And then
Yeah,
the excitement for a
100%.
sprint to the end with what's going to happen with penalties is kind of destroyed by great, there's a safety car with 2 laps to go. All right.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How are your races otherwise, Tack? You had a very long period of fighting towards the front, and then that second safety car really just knocked the wind out of your sails.
Yeah, well, I picked up wing damage. I hit Rogue going into the pit, so I had to replace my front wing, and that made me lose a ton of positions in a safety car. I tried clawing my way back. There's a lot of stuff going on around me, but overall, I should have pitted for mediums under SC. But I did not. I followed Rogue. Rogue pitted on mediums, or on inters. I pitted on inters as well, and yeah, we paid the price, I think, for that. Congrats to Harry, though.
Yep,
Harry
he won,
so
jumping 4
huge.
positions, finishing with no penalties. Something. Well, if you watched the
wow,
end of the
what a
stream, you
lad.
could see that was easily accomplishable for Rosefest and Ferrari, but their egos stopped them from swapping positions.
Yeah, Rosefest and Van like parked the bus in front of me. I think after the first
They had some
safety car.
interesting team tactics that
And
certainly fall under team, but probably not tactics. Chipsy, I wanted to ask you, actually ask you about team tactics. You and Ruda, do you guys fight for real, or are you just like, I don't know, playing with each other? Do you like decide when you're gonna overtake, or do you just send it up on? No. Chipsy and Ruda.
No, we just send it, I think. Especially Ruda. He'll give me the sorry, I didn't mean to do that, and then take the position. So to be fair, he was quicker than me at a lot of this at the track. So fair play to him.
All right. Well, that was all for tonight. So congratulations to Sir Harry. I didn't actually announce a driver of the day. I guess I'll have to figure that out in the morning.
Sir Harry.
All right, you're banned, and you can go too. So that was the broadcast. Thank you for joining me. I hope to do this again alone because other people are both stinky, stupid, and dumb.